Hey guys, it's Nim. What's up and welcome back or to my YouTube channel. If you are new here and you do not know who I am, my name is Nim and I make videos really about mainly deep dives. Today we're going to be talking about 5 books that basically changed me as a human being. That title is like genuinely very dramatic, like basically it's just about. But I'm going to be talking about 5 of my top favorite books, some just books that I love a lot and that I literally stabbed someone for. So okay, so we are going to start off with my 10 out of 10 book of last year. I read this book around November. Was it November? Bestie, I have no idea. I'm pretty sure it was close to the end of last year, and this book is The Silent Patient by Alex. Bro, I have no idea how to say it. This last name, Michaelides. This book is by Alex M. It is called The Silent Patient. This book is basically a psychological thriller. I love this book. If I were to recommend a thriller to anybody, I would 100% recommend The Silent Patient. This is the perfect thriller for anyone who loves any thriller where it is multiple perspectives, multiple points of views. And I love a story that is multiple perspectives. Like, it's literally the definition of a page turner. If I were to recommend any book, I would recommend this book to anyone who loves a good thriller and a good mystery. It's like a mystery thriller, like it's not horror. It's specifically a mystery and a thriller. It is such a good book. I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys, but that is the book. This book, I don't want to say it again, but this book is definitely a book that really made me feel like a full emotional waves throughout the whole entire book. Like, it is one of my favorite books, and it is a brilliantly written book. And once again, it is from different perspectives. You guys will probably see a theme in these books, but the book that I'm referring to is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Okay, the title kind of gives away the ending because it literally is called They Both Die at the End. But this book follows 2 characters in particular who get the death cast, which is basically a phone call where they tell you that you are going to die that day. And I genuinely just loved the idea of a book like this. It's definitely like one of those, like when you think about the scenario, it's like one of those TikTok POVs where it's like POV, you find out you're gonna die or some bullshit like that. But I love this book so much. I also bought the prequel kind of, which is The First to Die at the End. I have not read it, but I want to read it. I feel like I need to read it when I'm not in the middle of school, so I'm probably gonna have to read it like at the end of my exam time, which I'm currently in the middle of. But my goodness, guys, like, if I could recommend any book to anybody, like not just someone who's looking for a thriller, not just someone, I would recommend this book, because this book is what kind of got me back into reading. I used to not read that much. I had kind of stopped, and then I decided to read They Both Die at the End because I was part of a book club and this girl recommended it, and she said that it was one of the best books she's read. And I was like, okay, bestie, I'm gonna read the book, I'm gonna see it, and I love this book. I have a couple places marked in this book. I don't do this with any books. Like, literally none of the books that I have like sticky notes in them. The only reason why I've marked these books is because it's by my favorite parts in the book. I also love both of the characters. Like, I do not know how Adam Silvera wrote 2 characters that I cried for, and I cried for both of these characters. Like, dude, the last line, bruh, dude, Dude, I love the storyline. I love the way that it is so fantastically written, and I related a lot to one of the characters in particular. And I think, not like everything, obviously, like I've never been called and been told that I was gonna die, but I definitely did relate to one of the characters, in particular his mental state and how he was feeling about how his life was going. So read this book, girlies. Go check out my Goodreads. Okay, this next book, actually my sister initially has to read it, and then she told me to read it because I don't think she finished it, but she did have to read it for school. But the book that I'm talking about is Looking for Alaska by John Green. Now, this is the cover for the TV show that was made on TV. What the hell am I saying? Like, obviously, the cover is, I'm pretty sure it's like a little flower. So overall, I would give this book a 7 out of 10. If I was like just rating it out of 10, I would give this book a 7 out of 10. If I have any like sentence to describe this, is prepare to feel bipolar, because this book threw me for a loop. Now, shockingly, we actually do not follow Alaska. She is literally the girlie on the cover. We don't follow Alaska like fully. We actually follow Miles, and he is kind of he's the person that we follow. He's the main point of view that we follow, the main storyline that we follow. But yeah, this book, I would say it's like a very, very weird Euphoria episode with less sex. Like, imagine if Euphoria and Riverdale had a baby. This would be the product of Euphoria and Riverdale's baby. I definitely like this book. It is definitely a book that can really, like, that had really taken an emotional toll on me because of the way that they describe Alaska's feelings. I feel like when you think about it, like when you describe Alaska's feelings and how she basically touches everyone in a different way, not like that, but how she makes an effect on people's lives, and Miles's life when she's just met him, is definitely something that I enjoy how John Green described it. I want to read more John Green books because I feel like John Green is quite a popular author, if I'm not incorrect. But I definitely love this book. When I watched the series, the casting was interesting, to say the least, because this could not be expanded on because it was a one-off book. I do not know why it was not just a movie. It became a series, like 5 episodes. It was not what I had expected for it. Next up, we're going to be talking about a book that I read when I was 11. So I was in grade 5, and it was a class book. It's a very light read, but it physically gave me an emotional switch on like how I processed emotions. And the book that I'm talking about is Bridge to Terabithia by Catherine Patterson. If you are going to read any light read, like on a plane, on a car trip, on a road trip, read this book. I'm begging you. It's a small book, but it definitely is dense. And if I can, my emotional maturity had completely switched when I finished this book. And I literally read this book like at least every year. Like every 2 years I have read this book once, like in 3 hours, because and if you are struggling to get into like reading, I would recommend reading this book because it can kind of get you back into the groove, because it is a small book. I don't know why, but this book had completely like changed my definition of love. Like obviously no, when I was 11, like bruh, no one knows what love means at 11. I'm talking about like when I read it again, it definitely showed me how like love can be defined in many different ways. I'm gonna recommend these books in particular. Read them and come back to me and say, Nim, you were right. I don't want to hear some Nim, you were wrong. That doesn't exist when it comes to these books. Last but not least, another school book. I did not read this. I did not have to read this for school. But this is another school book that touches on something so difficult to even explain and so difficult to describe. And I feel like this book is so impactful, like, and it's such a good book because, like, this is a book that you would read like at like 13 years old, like if you're in grade 7. So I definitely think that this is a fantastic book. It's a good read, and I'm talking about The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Chef Boyardee. So I'm gonna give this book an 8 out of 10 just because it is a very sensitive topic, and I feel like it's really difficult to think, like, to even write about, let alone read. So read this book, but proceed with caution. That's all I can say. Let's read the blurb. The story of The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is very difficult to describe. Usually we give some clues about the book on the cover, but in this case we think it is important that you start to read without knowing what it is about. If you do start to read this book, you will go on a journey with a 9-year-old boy called Bruno. Sooner or later you will arrive with Bruno at a fence. We hope you never have to cross such a fence. Let's look. This book, but also I feel like if I give you guys the trigger warnings for some of the other books, you might get what's the word? You might get a spoiler because I don't know how to be in the script. So maybe look it up and proceed with caution if someone like spoils the book for you. I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to spoil any of the books because I do not like that. Like, I do not like when I read a damn book review and someone's like, oh, and the character dies. It was crazy. I'm like, okay, well now I can't read it, so thanks. So yeah, that is the end of my book review. Not my book review. I feel like a book review would be damn longer and I would have like written like I usually do for my deep dives. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to like, subscribe down below, turn on the post notifications so that you get notified every time I post a new video, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye, besties. My foot has also fallen asleep.